By surprise, that's what police have said about the shootings in Ottawa's city centre. A man launched an armed attack inside Canada's parliament after shooting and killing a soldier at the National War Memorial nearby. We are following several developments, including more details about the dead suspect. CCTV's Christian Yo joins us live in Ottawa. And Christian, what can you tell us about what happened there earlier today?
Hello, Elaine. Well, it all started this morning just after 9:30 behind me, where the gunman opened fire on that soldier who we've been hearing about this evening, Corporal Nathan Cirillo, just 24 years old. And although he was carrying a gun on duty, it wasn't loaded, and that he didn't stand a chance in that respect. The shooter then, I understand, hijacked a car, drove it just to beside the Parliament building and managed to gain entry to Parliament and shoot his way through a corridor where most MPs in this country were gathered for the caucus. Most of the big parties were all gathered. It's pretty full, a packed house, you might say. And the Prime Minister himself was just feet away on the other side of a door. We've also been hearing about that shooter, as you mentioned, that shooter, Michael Zehaf-Bibeau, who believed to be in his early 30s, born and raised in Montreal to a Canadian mother, Libyan father. It's believed he may have been in contact with extremists. He certainly has a criminal past. Aside from the details about the shooter and his victim today, we've been hearing from the Prime Minister as well. We waited a long time to hear from Stephen Harper today. There was some speculation that it took him quite a while to get the courage to address the nation after this terrible day. But we heard from the man. He was very shaken, but he was also very defiant.
But this week's events are a grim reminder that Canada is not immune to the types of terrorist attacks we have seen elsewhere around the world. We are also reminded that attacks on our security personnel and on our institutions of governance are, by their very nature, attacks on our country, on our values, on our society, on us Canadians, just as it will lead us to strengthen our resolve and redouble our efforts to work with our allies around the world and fight against the terrorist organizations who brutalize those in other countries with the hope of bringing their savagery to our shores. They will have no safe haven.
So the message there really was clear: no safe haven, and if you were trying to intimidate Canada, it has failed. If anything, I believe that the resolve here, if Stephen Harper is to be believed this evening, it will be strengthened, and you may now see a tougher foreign policy, certainly more intervention overseas in cahoots with the United States. I think we'll very much see a toughened stance domestically as well, more homeland security. The days of being able to wander around Parliament as a member of the public may now be over, Elaine.
Well, and Prime Minister Harper certainly had some harsh words during his address, saying terror attack, a despicable attack. He also mentioned the other incident that happened just a few days ago in Quebec, the hit and run that targeted 2 other Canadian soldiers. Any word if these 2 incidents are related? Is there more talk that these 2 could be related?
There's no clear link between the actual perpetrators of these attacks. However, the way that Stephen Harper has presented this speech this evening, he has spoken about the week collectively, these events collectively. He's calling them both terror attacks. And so I think it's clear that the approach now taken in investigating both of these attacks will be conducted by the same team, the same division, and in the eyes of the federal government and the authorities here, this is one and the same. It was expressed quite quickly after those hit-and-run attacks in Quebec on Monday that this was committed by an extremist who had objectives to intimidate this country. It appears, according to Harper this evening, that today's attacks were very similar.
All right, CCTV's Christian Yo live for us in Ottawa. Eyewitnesses in Ottawa describe the shooting and what they remember of the incident. Some describe the suspected gunman. Take a listen.
And we heard 2 gunshots over by Wellington, and we saw a bunch of people running. And there was a woman with her stroller and a child, and she was screaming and running, so I was going to go over and help her. But then we saw a man with a mask over his face, well, a scarf, long black hair. I think he was wearing blue pants and a black jacket, and he had a double-barrel shotgun. And he ran up the side of this building here and hijacked a car at gunpoint.
It was a rifle, like a long-barreled rifle. I mean, again, I don't know what I'm supposed to say or what I'm not supposed to say.
Well, we were working on the statue and heard a bunch of pops. I thought it was just firecrackers going off. So I look across the street and there was a man with a rifle shooting at a bunch of people. So we, I yelled at all my guys. There's guys shooting, so everyone, get down, get down.
I hear this pop, 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 possibly 10 shots, don't really know. Thought it was dynamite or construction rather than anything else. Suddenly the security guards come rushing down the hallways. Usher is all out to the back of the Parliament buildings.